Okay, so let's start our May 12 Zoom class. Our title is D2C, Direct to Consumer. That's what D2C means. That's our title, D2C. So the video you saw a while ago was actually a commercial, one of the greatest commercials of Nike. For those who don't know, Nike started in the trunk of the car in 1964. It was founded by a track and field coach. His name is Bill Bowerman from Blue Ribbon Sports. He was a track and field coach at the University of Oregon, and it was founded by him and his former student, Phil Knight, who was also a track and field athlete. They opened their very first outlet in 1966. They launched the Nike brand shoe in 1972. The company was renamed Nike after the Greek goddess of victory in 1978, and they went public 2 years after 1980. From 1980 to 2020, 40 years, Nike, from the lows of that IPO price of 10 centavos, is now $100. It is a 1,000x company in 40 years. Who is William J. Bill Bowerman? 1911 to 1999, 88 years old. He had a drive and relentless curiosity. He was an athlete himself while he was attending the University of Oregon. He was a track and field coach. He was also a high school football coach. He fought in the World War II. He came back a decorated hero. In 1948, Bowerman returned to his college alma mater, and during his 24-year tenure, he led the University of Oregon to 4 NCAA track titles, coached 16 sub-4-minute milers. Further, he introduced jogging to the community of Eugene in the 1960s, which helped spark a national phenomenon, and he served as the U.S. Olympic track coach in 1972. He's a performance athlete, a coach, and an entrepreneur himself. He said in the Nike Innovators website, a shoe must be three things. It must be light, comfortable, and it should go the distance. Furthermore, he said that he didn't like what the current athletic footwear companies were making, so he made his own. This became the foundation for Nike. American coach, he was also known as an inventor. In his quest to give his athletes, his track and field runners an edge, he experimented creating a lighter outsole, fashioned the more modern day waffle running shoe by using his wife's waffle iron, the one that you cook your waffle with your pancakes, to mold the revolutionary new design using latex, leather, and some glue. During the late 1960s, Bowerman and Phil Knight, one of the athletes whom Bowerman had coached, contributed $500, manufactured 330 pairs of these new lightweight shoes. This venture became the foundation for Nike Inc. And that's how this company started. Bill Bowerman is said to be an innovator. He tinkered with shoe designs. In fact, he would be known by 1958. So 6 years before founding his company, he would have a lot of guinea pigs. He learned to make shoes, the basics of making a shoe. He would even go the distance asking current shoe manufacturers how to make good flats. So he learned the basics, he tinkered with the basics, and innovated from there. Actually, one of his moment of eureka was in 1971 when he just opened his wife's waffle iron, dumped a glop of liquid urethane, and that became the iconic waffle thread that we see in all Nike shoes today. That is a reason that the story remains so impactful today, that Nike is an inventor first and foremost. They identify a problem, they iterate, and they solve a problem. The Nike co-founder actually had Phil Knight, who is also his athlete. That relationship from coach to athlete became a friendship. So Knight wondered if they could actually make Japanese shoes known for blending durability and lightweight design. That Japanese brand was actually Onitsuka with his design innovations. So with Bowerman on board, Knight and Bowerman, Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman sought to start Blue Ribbon, which later on became known as Nike. They went on to an IPO in 1980. By 1986, they were already selling $1 billion worth of shoes. Actually, those designs that they were doing with Japan was now known as the Cortez running shoe. And that became the industry standard. This is Mr. Phil Knight. He is an American business magnate. He's the co-founder of Nike. He previously served as the chairman and CEO of Nike before retiring. He was also the writer of Shoe Dog, a memoir by the creator of Nike. The Earth in Action, let's see. I haven't read the Shoe Dog, but some people in Twitter has told me to read it, so we'll see. This is Nike. You could see that from 1980 to 1986, even in the first 6 years, you'd see a quadruple move here, 0.1 to 0.4. So this only tells you that if you see a company going 400% on the IPO date, do not worry as long as the fundamentals, the revenues, everything is correct, because you could be in the journey of a 1000x company, not just a 4x, 5x company. So the revenues of Nike last 3 years, for the full year, you could see that North America is $15 billion, 15 to 16 billion. Europe has been growing from about 8 to about $10 billion. The biggest growth still comes from China, from 4 billion to 6 billion. Asia Pacific is still growing, albeit at a slower state, 4.7 billion to about 5.2 billion. In total, you still see around, if you add that up, this is around 50, so 16, 26, so close to $40 billion. That's how much that revenue is for Nike worldwide. So full year, as of 2019, full year revenue is approximately about $42 billion. On a currency neutral basis, it was up 11%. So that's how they did last year pre-COVID. Now, they have been juggling traditional retail in the middle of their transition to direct to consumer. The then CEO was Mark Parker. He reinforced in an earnings call 2017, prior to COVID, that their vision was that every consumer engaging with Nike brand has to enjoy an elevated, consistent experience regardless of channel. They are going to keep investing in omni-channel and explore the fourth wave of e-commerce. Now, the heart of Nike's omni-channel experience, the Nike Plus program, actually started 11 years ago. In March 2009, Nike announced Jean Jackson to be the president of its direct-to-consumer D2C for the company. Her mandate was to grow Nike retail stores worldwide, affiliate retail stores, and digital commerce. She reports directly to the CEO, Mark Parker. So prior to being picked in Nike, she actually was in e-commerce for Walmart, operating Walmart Interactive, the global e-commerce initiative of Walmart. Now, Nike, in 2006, announced a partnership with Apple called Nike Plus. That partnership is for, it's an app in Nike so that you could see how many calories you're burning with an iPod. And when you're using your iPod, you could wear your shoes and the data would be synced to Nike Plus's website. So that's a very 11 years old company, 11 years strategy. Now take a look Nike financial statement in the last 15 years. So taking a look at their 2019 numbers, you could see that the revenues are 39 billion. Cost of goods sold is 21 billion. Their gross profit is roughly half. That's 17 over 40. That's about 40%. So they have about 40 to 45% gross margin for the shoes. They're the largest footwear shoe company all over the world. You could see that in the last 5 years, 27 billion to about $40 billion in sales revenues, consistent earnings all throughout those 15 years. Similarly, every 5 years, you could see 2011 from 20 to 32. So it's been consistently up 10% year in, year out. So when you look at the earnings per share, you'd see from 13 billion, 2005, 56 cents to about $2, $2.50, 15 years after, or times 5. So from about 13 billion to 40 billion in sales, and profits have been 5 times more. Profits of $1.2 billion to about, you could see here, about $4 billion. So that's how Nike makes money. Now, revenue from a footwear segment of Nike versus Adidas and Puma, you could see that the market share is definitely from billions perspective in the sports fitness wear. Nike is about double. It actually, even if you add Adidas and Puma together, Nike is greater than them. So from a revenue perspective, Nike beats Adidas and Puma. Now, definitely, Phil Knight has stepped down. He was 80 plus years old. There was a brief stint for William Perez and the current CEO, Mark Parker, before leaving 2019. No? Phil Knight said of the founder, Mark Parker, they had a few meetings and they realized they were on the same wavelength, that they could finish each other's sentences, so I didn't have to meet with him very often. It's been over a decade. Mark Parker has more than doubled the annual revenue when he started at 16 billion to about 32 billion. And now when he stepped down last year, it was about $40 billion of revenue. So that's a great track record also for the CEO. During 2017, when Nike sales went down with Adidas as a competitor, CEO Mark Parker slashed his salary by 71%. Let's talk about some of the direct-to-consumer initiatives that Nike had. So in 2016, Nike grew communities for runners to get together. They call it the Nike Plus. This was a personalized app. This is one of their examples of their omni-channel. They had e-commerce retention. They had a lot of loyalty programs. Everything you want from Nike was all in one place. The products, all the events, advice from the world's greatest athletes, and your own personal Nike shop. Essentially, Nike described in their press release that it connected Nike's wealth of sport knowledge within its footwear and apparel offerings. Nike Plus translates the plus to personal, because they wanted to provide members with customized guidance, support, and a host of tailored resources, unlocking the best of Nike. So you can actually download the Nike app and look at all the brands that Nike owns, such as Air Jordan, Nike ID, Converse, all the sports and relevant content and newsfeed personalized just for you. Product announcements and reservations were also available in Nike Plus. In the Nike Plus app, there was the Nike Plus Run Club, the Nike Plus Training, and the Nike Plus Sneakers apps. So definitely it was all connected. Nike Plus platform leveraged multiple components connecting the runners to the company. So there was a company, there was the Nike online presence, even the shoe was connected to your phone. And so they could check how many miles you've been running, and you could see it all in your personal health app. You could say that Nike has transcended the power has actually used the power of sports to transcend all the human beings. A while ago, you have been watching the commercial, Nike's Find Your Greatness. So Nike has always used the transcendent power of sports. In our previous Zoom class, we said that Spotify wanted to be the Netflix. Well, they didn't say that they were I said that they were the Netflix of audio, but they were basically the world's #1 go-to when it comes to audio platform. Now, Nike in the last 40 years have definitely shown to us that Nike is where everyone can just do it. So that was their tagline, and they were very straight up in saying to everyone that everyone can be great. So just do it, something like that.